All right, welcome to Fast Break Breakfast NBA Podcast. My name is Keith Parrish. I've got Kelly Dwyer coming up in a few minutes to talk basketball. The conversation touches on all of the most important early season topics, I believe, including the odds that Giannis and Morant could be the best basketball players ever. Plus, we have an important discussion about Peter Jackson's Beatles documentary. Among the things we did not get to, the Orlando Magic are 0-5 and just lost Cole Anthony for an undetermined amount of time. Their horrific injury fortunes continue. The Lakers are also winless. The Grizzlies announced that Zaire Williams will be out for 4 to 6 weeks after his soreness has not improved. So presumably Jaren Jackson Jr. will be back well before Zaire comes back. Also in the games on Wednesday, Damian Lillard left with a calf injury. The Blazers lost their first game of the season to the Miami Heat. The Heat seemingly did benefit from finally not playing a home game. Meanwhile, the Jazz, they avenged their one loss of the season by beating the Rockets to improve to 4-1. And a fun fact about Kevin Porter Jr. of the Rockets, who Kelly and I do briefly talk about. So far this season, Kevin Porter Jr. is 89% from the line on nearly 5 attempts per game. Coming into this season, he was a career 69% foul shooter. So very nice improvement there. Finally, the Grizzlies want you to exercise your right to vote. Avoid the lines on Election Day, Tuesday, November 8th, and early vote now through November 3rd. Get ready for Election Day by making sure you know the candidates and where your polling location is. If you're in Tennessee or in the Memphis area, you can do that by visiting grizzlies.com/vote. If you want to support our show, write us a 5-star review in whatever podcast app you use. Also subscribe to our YouTube channel and go over to patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast to join our listener community. All right, now let's talk hoops with Kelly Dwyer. I'm joined right now by Kelly Dwyer, the great Kelly Dwyer, basketball guitar man, Kelly Dwyer. Kelly, how's it going?
It's going great. It's going great. I'm so happy that there's basketball on everywhere.
It is. I love it. I don't know why. I know why. I love basketball, but sometimes I get tired of it. Sometimes I just want to watch Warren Beatty movies. And I'm like, you know what? The basketball's coming back and it's going to fill up all my time. I won't have time for these Warren Beatty movies. But so far this year, invigorating. Maybe it's the fact that Morant's the best player I've ever seen. Maybe it's, I don't know what it is, but every game so far, like I am loving every single night of the NBA. I mean, yeah, we're like 9 days in, but still I'm in the honeymoon phase.
Yeah. And it doesn't feel like a typical early season sort of, yay, it's fun to talk about this. And all my buddies are back and everyone's at work again. And it feels a little different. It's like, wow, this is some uniquely exciting, doesn't really happen every October and November stuff. Maybe it's the parody, maybe it's just Ja is so beautiful, maybe it's because no injuries, but yeah,
I know what it is, Kelly. I just occurred
better
to me.
than shampoo.
It's I know what it is. It's the new take foul rule.
Could be.
It's just the new take foul. It's working. It's magic. Everything's beautiful out there.
Could be, or just could be Morant. Could be absolutely Morant.
I want to talk about Morant. I do. But
Please.
Before we get there, we shouldn't do it on an empty stomach. What's your breakfast, Kelly? Have you had a breakfast?
Last breakfast.
Self-cut, steel cut oats.
No.
Okay.
KD bag of donuts.
Hey!
I've been traveling a bit.
Are you off the wagon? Are you off the health food wagon?
Oh, the last meal I had was shredded kale and Brussels.
Oh, okay, good. So you're fine.
Seriously. I'm not fine, but the last breakfast, yeah, just the $1.69 bag of donuts because you don't want to. I've been on the road and get home late, and you don't want to eat anything that's crazy or hurtful. So palatable sugar made somewhere between 12 and 18 months ago, and on the shelf of the local friendly market. Yeah, but soon the oats will return.
It's a good breakfast. I love donuts. I love $1.69 donuts. Let's talk about Morant, and let's also maybe mention Giannis Antetekounmpo. Giannis has played 3 games. Ja's played 4 games. is there an argument? These could be the best players we've seen in what, like 15, 20 years. I know that's an outrageous statement, but I'm starting to be like, maybe I need to open my mind to the fact, because I haven't been there. Should I open my mind to the fact that Ja Morant might be the best player in the league / Giannis might be the best player in a while? I'm not saying clearly I'm saying he hasn't accomplished the things to get there, but when I see him averaging
I love talking legacy. So thank you for bringing that up.
When I see him averaging 52 points per 100 possessions,
yeah,
and I see Ja Morant like, oh, Ja learned how to shoot. Or if Giannis is making 40% of his threes and averaging 36 and 13.
Yeah. While doing all the right things defensively and funneling people to Brook and yeah, he's nuts. He's nuts. He's going to win over every player in this league, one by one. Each of his ex teammates, he's going to get to be the NBA's most popular player among NBA players. He's going to do what it takes. He's going to post each of them up to show that it's not like a crazy freak of nature thing. He's going to start to hit step back threes off the wrong foot, just like James Harden at some point. He's going to win us all over. He wants to be our friends. He wants to be, and he knows he's in our hearts. And now he needs to be in the hearts of, members of the Detroit Pistons or members of the Indiana Pacers, mostly the rest of the Central Division.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not from there. But Ja hitting, we've seen, there have been like Derrick Rose is hitting threes now, or KG's shooting threes now.
Right.
That's
sure.
always a thing. But it looks different for him because he always looked like he had college player strength with the 3-pointers. And now his core is better. Says Joey Bag of Donuts over here, but he could be out of something. He's going to do it in January. I certainly hope so because they can't defend anyone at their current rate with their current lineup. So he's got to do something. But yes, these are unique special players that I have no. I mean, Ralph Sampson meets Dr. J is Giannis, and I don't want to saddle him with Strickland or Rose comparisons. He's larger, he's leaner, and he's doing acrobatics that I don't have any reference for at all, outside of the rare on Gary Payton post up. He's the business.
Yeah. So I'll go Ja first, then Giannis second. Ja, like you just said, I had similar, not Rod Strickland. I don't remember watching him as much, but I was just like, all right, if he can be like Kevin Johnson and Isaiah Thomas put together, and like Isaiah Thomas, one of the best point guards ever. But now it's like, oh, he scores every single possession. Like no one can stop him from getting into the paint. Some of that is the way the NBA rules have gone, where like travels are cool. Travels have never been cooler, where they really aren't enforcing, lifting your pivot foot every time you start your dribble. But like he finishes in the rim. We saw that last year where his level of difficulty, those basketball index fellas, they were telling me he had like 99th percentile shot difficulty at the rim, and then was also 99th percentile in just finishing flat out. So like he's making these crazy athletic plays, but now he's hitting mid-rangers and he's making the 3-pointer. So I don't want to limit him.
That's not at the rim either. That's far from the rim. That is technically at the rim. That's in a place where we can quantify that but it's not at the rim where he's doing that.
I like what you're saying. Yeah, he's like he's almost landing. Sometimes he does land, and the refs don't call that either. But like, yeah, he's in the paint. When you see the NBA.com box score or the shot chart, the X is at the rim, but he's in fact way under the rim. He's like away from the rim. He's 4 feet. He's 6 feet off the ground because he's coming back down and landing before he releases the ball. This is a great point, Kelly. I hadn't considered.
He's a special elastic player that it might be video game stuff. If you've been playing with Derrick Rose on a video game at his peak, or going back as these kids do and go to Allen Iverson in 2000 in this video game, why not release it at the absolute millisecond before your guy lets out, because his 99% around the rim. So I like to credit EA Sports for most of this.
So Giannis is also averaging 50 points per 100 possessions, which are just I don't know what to do with these stats. These are stats that we basically have never seen. And Giannis, all right, I can get carried away with Ja Morant, small sample size. He's on my favorite team. Giannis, we already have proof of concept that he's an MVP, that he's an NBA champion. And now it's like everyone, I feel like we say these things like, oh, he's still young, he can still get better, but I don't know if we believe it. And then it's like, oh, Giannis might have gotten better. He's a force. And like, what if this is just new Giannis? If he is Wilt Chamberlain plus Dr. J plus whatever else you want to throw in there.
Someone cares a lot,
Yes.
personally wants to make this work. There's nice and there's corny mean and then there's corny nice. So he is just, there's gonna be a million stories about him that come out at some point, but he seems to enjoy his story arc and how corny it is and how fun it is, and he delights that he is the American dream, and I want to watch him try to configure that into, well, why can't I do this? The same John Morant thing where you're losing the ball a millisecond before. It's like, why can't I can post here and I can do this in between. I don't have to make it a black and white situation where I'm just being pegged into something. This is what LeBron is doing this fall to make the Lakers work. This is what he's just flowing, and you've seen it. They don't look cheap at all. They don't look like James Harden. They don't look like a million games where he kind of slapped his way to 28 free throws a game. Like, Brooklyn is Brooklyn, but like, it's not cheap. It's not fake. It's not fugazi. It's not. It's just he's a special player, and we never really got to see the NBA one with Dr. J, and immediately came into the league. You'd hear that they were just puncturing right away. Can't play defense, can't dribble the ball. He's only 6'6". We had him at 6'8". It's just immediately there was something, and then he retired. So he had a big, farewell tour. The prime was far away. The prime was in Long Island. The prime was in Virginia somewhere. This here, and let's celebrate it. Let's whatever he did in 28 minutes the other day. 39,000 points. Tony Snell's 28 minutes with all the zeros. That's then that. Same media account, same tweets, same everything. Giannis is whatever it was, 57 points, 32 rebounds, and 12 dimes, and he's a special person. I'm glad the touch is there. I'm glad it's not like Shaq where his wrist is all messed up and everything has a weird backspin on it that goes over the rim. Everything is working out for us so far with them.
Yeah.
Even the failures have caveats after caveats. Middleton, coaching, and teammates, and it's been PG rated. I love it.
Yeah, Giannis's last two games, 43.5 points and 13 rebounds in 33 minutes. You mentioned the American dream of Giannis. Have you seen the Disney movie about the Antetekounmpo brothers? Have you watched it yet, Kelly?
No.
I knew you wouldn't have. I said that for fun. Have you watched the Redeem Team?
No.
Yeah, me neither.
I did spend like 20 minutes on YouTube trying to find the clip going around of Kobe taking a hard foul with Pau. Yeah. I didn't find that. I couldn't find that.
Sure it's like they had secret. Somebody's got a secret stash of a video. And they're keeping it off YouTube. I don't. Yeah.
I don't know. I went and watched the game, and the first possession of the game, Pau Gasol rolls to a layup while Kobe Bryant does little snatch from across the lane without moving over. So I don't know what happened there, but selective editing.
Also, I know haven't seen the documentary. All the ads are like, man, we're going to mess Spain up. We're going to destroy Spain. And it's like getting fired up for America, taking on Spain. It's like, guys, that game was pretty close. Like that game was, that game was still in the, up in the air in the final minutes. Like it was a close game. Our superstar Redeem Team USA was still struggling against the Spanish national team. That's neither here nor there.
But still, with all the caveats, the Spanish team was great because they were talented and they were lovely and they were wonderful. But they got to play together all the time. Whereas these NBA guys, I'll wave the flag. We're putting in time in their off seasons to show for Nike, yes, but to get the job done. Stop being embarrassed. And so, more power to them. And listen, I've never felt prouder as an American than that song. So it's been, it was thankful to them that they gave us that September surprise. And yes,
I'm glad they stirred the feelings of patriotism within your heart, Kelly.
The Iberian Peninsula at that time of year. Come on.
Speaking of Tony Snell's empty stat line, do you have thoughts on Killian Hayes going 0 points, 0 assists, 4 turnovers on 6 field goal attempts in his last game. It was 2 games ago. I'm sorry. I don't want to disrespect him.
But
yeah,
the stroke.
Oh, is it improved?
Changed. So much better.
Is it improved?
It's not going in, but it's so much better. Were you slightly swayed by the Killian Hayes videos that summer? I mean, I was slightly swayed.
I don't even know. I don't even know. Was that on Disney Plus? I don't think I've seen the Killian Hayes videos. I think I missed them.
I had my legs were asleep after watching the Beatles documentary, and I couldn't get up, and it just moved into these Killian Hayes videos about how awesome he was going to be, and after averaging 7.2 points in the German L League. It's a bummer. It's a bummer. I'm very happy Durant is working out. And I'm also very happy that Ivy can drive in a basketball game without having 17 people in his way on the way to the hoop. It's otherwise, Killian is young, and it may take another team and it may take another system besides Dwayne Casey. There's a lot to think of. It's like dribble handoff after dribble handoff after dribble handoff. I think I'd have to check the stats on that. But
yeah,
very exacting offense, and he's only had 5 or 6 seasons to figure it out. So,
yeah,
however long it's been since 2020, I can't remember.
Dennis Smith Jr. is getting there, so we'll wait. We'll wait on Killian Hayes. You mentioned the Beatles documentary. I don't know very much about the Beatles. It's like it's not a weird. I don't know much about pop culture. Period. I grew up in a household where we didn't listen to secular music, and so like I don't have just the common shared communal knowledge of the Beatles. So I watched the Beatles documentary, and it was basically all new to me. I was like, oh, so that's what George Harrison looks like. My takeaway from the Beatles documentary is I enjoyed watching it a lot because I've been in bands. I've been a musician. And so it's really fun to see like just those raw rehearsals and guys just goofing off on their guitars. But also, my wife knows a lot more about the Beatles. She was bored out of her mind for most of it. And from a Beatles novice, I was like, they really should have someone like me who knows nothing about the Beatles to at least come through and make like a 2.5 hour cut. I felt like we could have made a 2.5 hour cut of that thing that would have been like just incredible pacing, and like people would have had their minds blown. Then you could have gone to your streaming service, and for the true Beatles aficionados, you can watch the 7-hour version and you can get the extras. But I felt like it was a missed opportunity to not have a very casual, like, hey, we're cutting together. Here's the 9-minute clip of what Giannis did. That's what we need to do. Don't play any Beatles songs on your guitar, because then Apple will sue me. Or whoever owns the Apple Music rights now.
I held off the entire time as a joke and then forgot about it the last second because I thought of the other joke about how they just play that guitar riff for 8.5 hours. Yes, 44 minutes and then 44 minutes. And then the rest of us who already had most of that stuff on BitTorrented CDs that we downloaded in 2006, then we can revel in them playing that same chord progression over and over and over. As a actual musician, it must have been fun to see these, unable to read music, but still able to, know what chords go where in a pattern and what can go in a certain key and what can't, diminish this or whatever. It's kind of work around that knowledge in order to make these, fairly elaborate pop songs, but maybe in Get Back, not really. But it must have been interesting to watch these kind of non-musicians musician it up.
Yeah, it was, again, I found it a pleasure. What are you seeing in the NBA right now? Which way do you want to go? Do you want to talk about the return of guys looking a little rusty? Kawhi already taking load management after taking no back-to-backs, and then like Jamal Murray, he's slowly rounding into shape, and also Ben Simmons, there's less patience with him slowly rounding back into shape. I hate to say it, but I thought Kyrie said something that was full of wisdom on Wednesday night. It was just like, he hasn't played basketball in 2 years. You got to wait. Like you got to chill out. Which way? You already want to talk about terrible teams? You want to talk about the Magic? Why don't you steer the ship, Kelly?
Kyrie's right. Kyrie's absolutely right. Ben Simmons is not Brooklyn's problem. Brooklyn has a lot of problems, but Ben Simmons is it. Can he do better? Yeah, but it's been a bit. And I just Dennis Smith, who's going to put on a football helmet, but decided to come back to the Hornets. The real Phoenix here is Steve Clifford, just out of nowhere turning a winner into a team without LaMelo that we all made jokes that were tanking, or at least I did.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they have, Dennis Smith bouncing around, still can't get to the free throw line, but is shooting threes. And they're so huge. Gordon Hayward throwing his big old butt around, and Kelly Oubre as a shooting guard.
Contract year, Kelly Oubre. Kelly Oubre's out there slinging it.
Still with a Plumlee, still with just Washington going. I guess I should go here. I don't know. What am I supposed to do at this height, at this actual weight, at this point of the
contract year? PJ Washington.
Now I have
the
ball. Now I have the ball. He's a curious case. But they're winning, and I figured they're going to be a thorn in everyone's side all year. Scary Terry is great. He's been great with them, and it's good that people have noticed it, even if he's coming off the bench for Dennis Smith Jr. That is wonderful, and it's time. It is definitely Dennis Smith Jr. time.
The Dennis Smith Jr. revival is special. I feel like the wheels have to come off because like Kelly Oubre's playing above his weight class right now. He's punching above his weight class. He's got
really long reach though. Really,
he's
getting out of that.
I was really upset.
He's a lefty.
Back in the day, I was very upset that the Kelly Oubre for Dillon Brooks trade turned out to be fiction. And it, in fact, was a miscommunication, and it was a Kelly Oubre for Marshawn Brooks. And then the Wizards pulled out. I don't know. That's not what we called. But then Kelly Oubre has been kind of a joke the last several years, just real inefficient. And I'm not saying he's super efficient now. I watched a stretch of a game where he alternated turnovers and made jumpers. He finished every possession for like 9 straight possessions where it was
usage. That's usage.
It's usage. It was I saw 100% Kelly Oubre usage, but like it worked. They won the game. That was the Hawks game, I believe, where he's like, he made a 3, then he turned it over, and then he made a 3 and pointed to his head, and he's like, I'm on fire. Then he turns it like it was special. But yeah, like they're getting this like Nick Richards is playing. They drafted Mark Williams. They don't care. They're like, let's play Nick Richards.
Yeah. Maybe that's the trend. Drummond's playing well in Chicago. Maybe 7-footers are just get these big lopey guys that fell up in Toronto blocking 16 shots yesterday. Come on.
What? I'm glad you mentioned Chicago. You're a Bulls expert. I mean, you're an expert in everything, but you're a hyper Bulls expert. What's going on with the Bulls? How did they beat the Celtics? And like, are they a playoff team? Or are they a play-in team? There's like 9 play-in. Okay.
Team. It's just like everyone saw last year. Everything has to go right. They're going to be hitting 1-foot shots at the buzzer on, a Saturday evening when everyone's watching college football. It's just going to be, those wins are going to build up and they're going to get trashed by the ground. I know they beat the Heat, but maybe the Heat aren't the Heat so much anymore. We don't know. It's the same thing. It looks Vucevic will be better this year. We've seen this guy play, and we know when he's going to tail off. We know when it's going to be the slow decline. Last year wasn't the slow decline. Last year was shots spinning in and out, and then he's got to go out to the 3-point range and carry the team out there because he's their only guy. It'll be better. Pat Williams will be better. Caruso, depends on his health whether he can stay in the game. Most Bulls fans have completely written off Lonzo Ball for the entire season because we've seen what happens on the Bulls' surgical table. So, no new relevance. I just think Boston kind of gave up on that game, and there were certain. The Boston needed to put their foot on the throat again because they'd already done it in the first quarter. So when they just played regular winning basketball in the third quarter, Chicago was like, "Oh, we can do better than this," and they did. It's the Goran Dragic and Andre Drummond show. I'm sure it's completely sustainable.
So in your opinion, which teams are better than the Bulls? Bucks, Celtics, Cavaliers, Raptors, Heat, Sixers?
I don't know about Heat. And the Sixers,
Sixers are what, 1-4?
Yeah.
Whew.
And we could cherry pick layups off of at this point. I mean, even this guy could. It's not a good situation when no one is even given the try hard stuff. No one's even like, we're gonna be on national TV. You're not getting any of that straight away. That's a little frustrating. The Bulls are gonna have a chip on their shoulder. They have that going for them, whereas Philly doesn't appear to have one for some. We'll see. The Bulls are limited by the fact that they just don't have the players. They don't have anyone to guard the front of the rim, and Andre Drummond is not the answer. He might be the greatest rebounder of the last 3 centuries or whatever the heck he was drafted, but he's not. It's still pretty much the same thing. The same team plus Io's a bit better.
My guy D'Anthony Melton currently has the most minutes in the NBA with no turnovers.
Wow.
It's not helping. And guess what? That's the thing he's not even good at. He turns the ball over. Maybe he's being too cautious. I don't know. Yeah, the Sixers are a weird sort of nightmare. I've watched pieces of every one of their games. How do the Bulls stack up? So you got maybe the Heat, Sixers, and Bulls. Are they currently in this similar class? Then where do you throw in like the Hawks and the Nets and maybe the Knicks with that?
Nets are a joke. Nets are a joke.
I think Nets are terrible right now, but
I don't understand how they're going to stop people, and I don't understand where the rebounding is going to come from. If their best big is Nick Claxton, who doesn't fit with Simmons, and Day'Ron Sharpe, who can't stay on the court. So I don't know what to do with the Nets. The Sixers are weird because their big closing lineup, you would think with Melton is not working out, even though Melton's fine.
Well, they let him close I think they almost let him close last game for the first time. But yeah,
Tyus Jones also has like zero. How many turnovers does Tyus Jones have this year? Memphis is amazing. Memphis is just amazing.
They're fun.
Tyus Jones is better than yes, but let's go back to the Saddies. No, the Nets are a joke. The Hawks are it's going to be health, and are we going to learn how to stagger Murray and Young's minutes, because we don't appear to be doing that very stridently thus far. It appears to be on or off. So we'll get used
Aaron
to
Holiday
that.
plays a lot for that team, and I'm like, why is he doing all that?
You are guard heavy.
Yeah.
Okay. So act guard heavy. You're guard heavy, and that's the reason Aaron Holiday should not be playing as much, is because you are guard heavy. So you should act guard heavy.
You have any impressions so far of the very young Houston Rockets? Are Jalen Green and Kevin Porter Jr. this generation's Steve Francis and Coutinho Mobley?
Are they that tight? I mean, those two were tight.
I don't know if they're tight. I don't know about off the court. I mean,
because Cat Mobley and Francis, they were young guys on a super old team, and then they were on an island amongst all these other weird players on the Rockets back then. So they had to sort of band together, and thank goodness they did. They were super entertaining as a backcourt and as a fun fandom duel to watch at the slam dunk contest. I don't like. I wanted to take Jalen Green's side in that fight, and then I'm thinking, Jabari Parker might be 16 years old, but he's over there going, this is why you guys are 9-73 left. This is why you guys are this. My dad was in the NBA for a cup of coffee, so I know at least half as much as you do about winning NBA games right now. And this is how it's done. So, like, immediately I was like, why is this kid doing that? I'm like, why? Let him. Not that Jalen Green in any way that man is a fluent NBA scorer. I enjoy him a great deal and think he's going to be not only an all-star, but the best player in a very good playoff team at some point in his career. But, I dug it. I just, my initial reaction is always to finger the rosary beads and go, what's going to happen here? And then anything after that seems great. They should be fighting. They should be into it. We should not be Eric Gordon in that situation. Only Eric Gordon gets to be Eric Gordon in that situation. And good for Jalen Green for fighting back and not taking it to the comment section somewhere and some sort of off the court nonsense or some card game on the plane or something, like some video game they're playing again, resentful video game communication between players. We can't have that. Get it out where we can have it in the open and make fun of it on Twitter. The minute we turn away from the Houston game, look what happened.
You don't think they should do hey guys, go settle this on Modern Warfare. Let's go play Call of Duty. Let's go work out your problems in Call of Duty. Which team needs?
Maybe that's where it started. Which
team, Kelly, needs a Call of Duty hash it out session right now? Which team is most in need of a just get on the same page?
Philly.
Is it just
They're
Philly?
all on the same page, but they really need to realize, I've never played Call of Duty, but I understand it's a bit of a life and death situation.
Yeah,
you're trying to look out for your fellow teammates, otherwise they might get dead. So in terms of transition defense, which is a bit of a problem for these Sixers, I would argue that it's not something you get back. You don't get McMurray back. Okay, after what just happened there, if you don't, point out what's up on the tower there. So it's, if you can compare the sort of Call of Duty lifestyle to, once the jump shot goes back, we need two wings back. That might help them. And then we'll go down to the younger teams.
Let's finish up with the Little Western Conference talk. We have the Trailblazers at 4-1, but maybe Dame Lillard is hurt as of time of this recording on Thursday morning. He had some kind of calf thing on Thursday night. We also have the surprising Jazz, and then I feel like the Pelicans look incredible. And I feel like the Timberwolves look a little soft. Any other impressions you have of the Western Conference at this point?
Yeah, the Wolves worry me a bit that maybe Towns overthinks his role in the summertime, and then it doesn't turn out to be where he still has to go up against NBA players and do his thing. I'm not. I really am not worried about either one except for the Lakers. I've said I don't
Oh,
want to
okay.
talk about the Lakers. So, like Kawhi, I'm not even worried. Utah's going to tail off, but that all of us had to talk ourselves down from looking at that roster and going, if these guys can stay healthy and these starters can get 40 minutes a game, that team could win half its games.
Right.
Not to display Danny Ainge's genius anymore, but he did not leave the cupboard bare. And perhaps he has designs on things greater than throwing it all in for one pick. Yeah, I don't. The Warriors will figure it out. The Warriors will be fine. The Suns, I think they'll just get bored with basketball like everyone else, and you get bored with the drama, and you're just like, I'm going to go out and cover. I'm going to go out and roll. I'm going to go out and finish around the basket. I'm basically just talking about DeAndre Ayton. Right? Yeah, it's really hard to. There's so much parity. I don't know if this is how it is in the NFL in September, but it's really hard to kind of get too upset about all these 2-2 teams. Right?
Yeah, the Mavericks are 1-2 and have the best net rating in the NBA because of annihilating the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies, by the way,
so many ESPN. There's been so many important games straight out of the gate. So it's been a lot of knockout teams going up against each other straight away. So it's just I really having a tough time.
That part's true, and even the Lakers 0-4, and obviously the horrifying shooting numbers, but they've basically been competitive against good teams, against teams we presume are going to be good. So I don't know, take from that.
Is there anything a surprise? Pelicans, I mean, they could average 140 points per 100 possessions. Does it look like a surprise with that team?
I've been highlighting Trey Murphy. Trey Murphy had a great end of the season last year. He had an amazing summer league this year and last year. He had a good preseason, and it's like this Trey Murphy guy might be legit. And then he plays a few minutes off the bench, like the first game, makes all his shots. And then they're like, hey, Brandon Ingram's out. Zion Williams is out. Trey Murphy's going to get to start. And Trey Murphy makes all of his shots. He plays 36 minutes. He's like 8 for 8 or 9 for 9 from the field. This guy's shooting 70% from the field for the season, and they're mainly three-pointers. I think Trey Murphy might be incredible. Jose Alvarado gets to play a bunch of minutes. He's just dominating people. It's like this team is deep. They don't even play Dyson Daniels some nights, and Dyson Daniels goes out. He looks cool. I'm
what he's
petrified of the Pelicans.
You know what he's doing in practice. The CJ McCollum. He was coming in a polo after appearing on NBA TV or something like that. He's that's going to be some fun. I do kind of worry about your Memphis Grizz a little bit, just because the Zion Williams thing stinks.
Out for 2 months, maybe.
It's just not fun. It's not fun. It doesn't appear like an injury that's going to be any. It just seems like a painful thing that isn't going to be fixed right away, and you're going to have to ease him back in, and that's just sort of a selfish thing. Like, we're not going to see this guy flying around, figuring out who he is as a basketball player, as an NBA helper on a very good team. Before our eyes. We're gonna have to wait for that. It's gonna have to be January, February before he's like super full strength and comfortable. And that's a bummer, because you want them blending in. You don't want all the eyes on someone like Zion Williamson, when all the eyes of the real NBA sort of like, well, this could be the jump guy. We're already on him to begin with. So I hope we take it easy on him when they come back. And the same goes for JJJ. I can't. It's a tough injury he's coming back from, and then to hope that he's going to be tiptoeing around being Defensive Player of the Year again is going to be tough. But otherwise, it's the most beautiful story I've ever heard.
I'm not worried about my Grizzlies. I mean, they have a lot of concerns, but I think they're going to keep their head above water. They're not going to fall. I think for a while. Also, like, Santi Aldama has been really, really good.
So good.
Conchar has stepped up, where I'm like, can he hit threes at volume? So far, yes. But they are playing at the winless Kings on Thursday night. I am clearly nervous. Huge win over the Nets, but it's like, I think the Nets are bad. And also, it took Desmond Bane and Ja both scoring 38 to beat the Nets. So I have a few concerns, but they're awesome when their starters play. Yeah. Eventually, Roddy and LaRavia will stop playing in the rotation, and I think they might pick up some things. Let's final thing. Speaking of my Memphis Grizzlies, where do you come down on the value of the controversial Dylan Brooks? Dylan Brooks,
I dig it. He's
okay.
I wouldn't want him on any other team. Okay. You can't. He's raised in that culture. He's raised with those teammates. he has, I don't mean the Memphis Grizzlies culture, I just mean his status among those young guys. He's that guy. You need him around. You need him around you. So if he comes in and takes 18 shots to get 14 points, you're going to deal with that. But he's the guy that puts that out there. He's the reason I'm not worried that they're 30th or whatever in defense right now, because they've proven they could win like this and they've proven they can win like that. We saw it last year against good teams, high leverage situations, everything on the line. They were, when the season could fall apart, they found a way to win. Coaching staff and personnel. Brooks is part of that. And no, you got to keep him and you got to tolerate him. What he did last year was a drag. It was incorrect. He shouldn't have done it. But I mean, we haven't seen him do that before. That wasn't like something that happens in the regular season with him, where he's whacking guys on the side of the head, and it's just like, oh, we're just now seeing it because of the playoffs. No, it's just that he let it get to him, and that's at least some that Memphis is vibrant. It is, and that every person on that team has been like, why not now? For the last however many years with Ja. And they saw Derrick Rose doing it early with the Bulls. I don't know what's in him, but they feel it. And he, Lord knows what he has to do with that. But I don't want to upset anything, let alone something as substantial and weighty as Dillon Brooks. Everything he does wrong is so obvious. So if this is the worst that it is, I'm great with it.
Yeah. Well said, Kelly. I stand by Dillon. My guy John Bird does not. So we'll
absolutely right to.
Yeah.
My heart is often incorrect. So yes, but this is just guesswork based on not wanting, to use the Beatle lords, Paul McCartney not wanting to take LSD because he's scared that he would forever be changed and never be the same person he was before. And he kind of likes the way he was, So it's kind of like that. He eventually did take loads of acid.
I'll take your word for it. I don't
so much acid.
Never heard this story before. Anyways, Kelly, pleasure as always talking with you. All you guys out there, check out Kelly's Substack, The Second Arrangement, tsa.substack.com. No one covers the NBA like Kelly does. It is awesome and entertaining. So go subscribe to his or go sign up for his Substack. Kelly, look forward to the next time.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me on.